What is up, everyone? My name will be Josh. This is StrainCentral, and today I am finally getting into the April Hemper box unboxing. So I have been super busy these past few weeks. I did a little bit of traveling, and then I just took some time to kind of focus on mental health and make sure that I'm good before I get back into the steady heavy content grind. So I have a Hemper box from April today. I know it's almost the end of May, but this is a slightly older box. I have some work to get caught up on, but let's just go ahead and jump right into it. So we're going to go ahead and be dabbing today first out of the XL rig for this month. I know this kind of gives away a little bit what's in one of the boxes, but this is just going to be the basic box today. You can also get the full-size XL rigs with pretty much every month's box, though. So you can go ahead and ignore the crater on my forehead. I'm going to attribute that mostly to diet, as I do actually try to keep up a somewhat steady skincare routine. My skin apparently didn't get the memo that this shit is supposed to stop in high school, and I'm guessing sugar probably put a nice Rudolph fucking nose right in the middle of my forehead, so let's get into this though. Alright, so we're going to be starting off with a dab of some of this Grapefruit Durbin. It is a super heavy sativa. That came out as super soupy for some reason. Super soupy, tastes like Campbell's tomato. It's a super heavy sativa though. Durbin Poison is a landrace sativa. Grapefruit is a super heavy sativa. You put those together, you get a really nice racy, super creative high that can be kind of anxious to some people depending on if you are anxiety prone or not. I was actually on the PKA podcast and I was talking with them about the effects of weed for me, and I mentioned the fact, and I kind of hold to this, that I personally have never really experienced super heavy anxiety from any cannabis. I've never had a cannabis induced anxiety attack or been super overcome with anxiety surrounding cannabis. So I get raciness from sativas, I get euphoria, but it never really comes across as anxiety as it does for some people. Nonetheless, cheers. I definitely hope you guys are smoking along, dabbing along, vaping along, getting those cannabinoids nice and deep into your lungs. These are going to be deep in mine. Cheers, friends. That fucking sucked. Really hot drop of oil directly onto my fucking calf. I was taking the dabber away. Just fell directly on my leg. Oh my. I low temp that one like crazy. And the cool thing about this nail is it's actually kind of made for cold starts. So it's actually really good about reheating, and you can get a pretty decent second little dab here. Cheers. Ooh. KO.
Fatality.
Whew, got the dab sweats. Alright, let's go ahead and get into this box though. So I actually did take a trip down to Oregon. The weed down there is fucking phenomenal. Genuinely some of the best weed I've had in quite a long while. And that's coming from someone living in a legal state. Washington does have some pretty good weed. But I've traveled all over this country and tried weed in a lot of different states. Cali, Colorado, even the East Coast. Massachusetts has some really good weed. Massachusetts has some of the best extracts out of all of the states. Nevada, Florida. I've tried weed in a lot of different places, in legal states and in illegal states, and it just genuinely seems that Oregon has some of the most quality across the board weed for the lowest fucking prices. That's what they get for not kind of monopolizing licenses. They allowed the entrance to growing and becoming a actual producer to be much lower, and because there's so many producers, it makes them have competitive prices, which drives down the price for consumers. So everyone across the board wins. I'm rambling though. So that's what you get when you take a sativa dab. So, like I said, this is a box that I actually took down to Oregon. I don't know if I said that part, but I took this down to Oregon, and we used this as basically all of our smoking accessories for the full trip. So, a lot of the stuff in here has been used, cleaned up, and I'm now gonna present. But a lot of this was really useful, and it genuinely made the trip a lot easier. Okay, so, actually cracking this bad boy. The first thing we have, and I think this was probably the thing we used the absolute most down in Oregon, is a ashtray with a bowl catcher on it. So you take your bowl, you just, empty it out, you put the actual bowl in there, and you clear out the bowl itself. It's made of silicone, and I love that because I've had plastic ashtrays that are kind of similar to this. And what ends up happening is you'll have a single smoldering ash that'll catch the entire ashtray on fire, and then the plastic actually will melt. So silicone has a much, much higher melting temperature than plastic. So I'm assuming if this were to catch on fire, it would be a much lower chance of actually catching your entire apartment on fire than not. Okay, this is something I have to say though, because this blew my mind. So I polled a bunch of people on Twitter the other day asking if they had fire extinguishers, if they dabbed in their house, or if they smoked in their house. So many of you answered no. It was something like 80%, 80+%. I think it was like 85% answered no. Get a fucking fire extinguisher. They're so cheap. Go to Target, go to Walmart, spend less than $20, and possibly prevent your house from catching on fire. Like, it's way better to be in a situation that you went out and bought something that you don't need than needing something that you don't have. So go get a fire extinguisher. It's so simple, especially if you're operating one of these at any time. Have a fire extinguisher in your room or right outside your room and easily accessible. Jesus Christ, I'm like Smokey the fucking Bear over here. Don't catch your house on fire, stoners. Okay, so we have an ashtray. This thing is super rad. I love these. I actually can never get enough of these because what I end up doing is usually just getting them dirty and then grabbing a new one, tagging in the new partner, and then when they all get dirty, I clean them all at once. So I like having like a little lineup, a little collection of these. And then I also bring them on the go. Like, we were using this to smoke joints in the hot tub. It was fucking great. So the next thing we have is some honey citrus twisted hemp wraps. Honey citrus, what does that smell like? Huh. It almost kind of smells. I get like very big backwood vibes from these for some reason. So these are hemp wraps that come with their own little tips. So they're not pre-rolls, which means you do actually have to know how to roll to use these. But I love the twisted hemp wraps. I think these are the premium ones too. So they only come with 2, but I usually tend to find these wraps tend to be a little less dry than the 4-packs. So the next thing, and we use this a lot because Oregon was windy as fuck, is a torch lighter. Torch lighters are, I wouldn't personally suggest using this for a dab rig. You could heat up a nail with this. The amount of time it's gonna take though is absurdly long, like 2+ minutes probably. You're gonna burn up most of your butane in just a couple of dabs. So I personally really like these for smoking joints outside. If you're a cigarette smoker, they're really nice for lighting cigarettes outside. It's basically just a torch that is not gonna easily blow out in the wind. You're gonna be able to actually light the shit that you're smoking in the wind, in the elements. So keeping those are pretty much the best option for windy days. You can have like the electric lighters, but I personally like to keep those because these tend to be a little bit easier in wind to light than just like the small little electric lighters that sometimes are hard to actually even get your cigarette or joint into. So it looks like they did also include some Hemper tips. So there are 50 Hemper tips, and I personally like the ones like this that you can actually roll yourself. I usually tend to take these. They're actually the wide tips too, so if you like your tips a little bit wider, you can use them full. I usually take them, bend them in half, and use them in 2s. So rip them down the middle and use them in 2s. So I actually make 100 tips out of these 50. I basically just rip them in half and use them to, roll like this because I don't like super long tips I want my joint to mostly be weed. But if you're trying to save on weed, the wide tips are actually super helpful and super handy. Especially if you're rolling 1 1/4, because you can literally just roll like a literal like work break joint. You know how like chefs, when they go out and smoke, they smoke like the Marlboro 100s that are like this smaller length. You can do the same thing with the joint. Just roll a wide tip, take a 1 1/4 paper, get a joint that's gonna give you like 6 or 7 solid puffs, and boom, you're right back into work. I'm not saying you should work high. Clearly. Drugs are bad, kids. So the next thing they did give us is a Hemper battery. This is actually kind of cool. I'm assuming this is probably for vapes. This is a 510 threaded battery for cartridges. So it's 380 milliamp hours. That means you're probably going to get a decent amount of battery time off of this. I'm assuming that's probably like a 30 or 40 session type length battery. You can use it also depending on what voltage you're running it at. It has 3 different variable voltages, 2.7 volts, 3.1 volts, and 3.6 volts. So the next thing they actually included in the box is a little 510 threaded adapter. So you basically take a 510 threaded pen like this, you slide it right on the tip, and then actually we can use, hold on, we're going to use the Hemper egg to test this out. So from the looks of this, you can basically put this on pretty much any 510 threaded pen. It has the circle tip, like actual insert, and then it has the more of the duck bill cartridge tip insert, so you can pretty much fit any tip in there. And as for what you can fit this in, this looks like an 18 mil, this looks like a 14 mil, this might be a 10 mil, and I think 10 might be the smallest it goes, but it could even possibly go smaller than that. So you could probably pretty much fit this in any downstem that is a female downstem. But we're going to use the Hemper egg and see how all this thing really works. Cheers, friends. Let's get a good old rip. Whoa! For a cartridge? Holy cow! That like actually is genuinely impressive. Shout out to Toki for killing it with that battery. But holy hell! This little Hemper ring is awesome. I definitely could not. I feel like even hitting a blinker, I don't get clouds that are like actually that prominent. So that is a badass little thing that I will definitely be probably incorporating in more videos. I immediately feel that head high. Holy shit. Alright, so they do include 2 staples in a lot of their boxes here. First off, we have our Zoomy sticker. So let me see. I think I have a pretty good collection going at this point of, I think this is mostly just 2021 Hemper stickers. I think there is some 2020s in here. And I even have this one already, boop, posted up. So we're starting the inside cover as well on this thing, on our classic notebook / script pad, whatever you want to call it. I write my video ideas and bullet points in that notebook. But we got our Hemper Zoomy sticker. I always call it the Zoomy sticker because it reminds me of like high school when you used to go into Zoomies every month and check out their sick fucking skatewear collections and get yourself a sticker because you couldn't afford anything in the store. Well, that was depressing. So the next thing they include is a, looks like 14 mil banger. I have a ton of these. I love that they include these in almost every box because I personally chaz a lot of bangers, so having continual bangers on deck is something that helps me not get made fun of on Instagram. Alright, so the last thing in the box is the most important. We always save the best for last. I almost didn't get that over my chair and it almost hit my head. We have the glass piece. The first thing that it is included and it comes with, Maui's like, what the fuck was that? I was gonna go try to get in that box, which he definitely won't fit in. Are you gonna steal my Hemper sticker? He's gonna fucking steal my Zoomy sticker. Alright, so the first thing we do, if I can Alright, so the first thing that is in this is a bowl with a little handle included. I always love, that's such a simple thing to include, but I love when bowls include a handle. Because sometimes, no matter the thickness of a bowl, if you're having to grab the actual bowl itself and you just ripped an actually big bowl, that motherfucker's gonna get hot. It's just kind of a given. So, such a simple thing that I love when glass blowers include is a handle to a bowl. This is gonna be a big surprise to you. I bet you none of you can guess what this piece looks like. So it is literally just a mini version of the XL piece. It's like the small little baby brother, you know? This is the big brother protecting the small little leg. This is the guy she tells you not to worry about. This is you. I'm gonna put some water in this thing and we will actually see how well this thing functions. So I just filled the piece up with water and I am packing a bowl of some Medellin. I actually do not know what the cross this strain is. I just know that it's a really tasty orangey strain. So I actually don't know if I have a lighter. Hold on, we gotta find a lighter. I was gonna use hemp wick because I just had some laying around, but I'm actually not kidding when I say my cat steals my hemp wick. Like, Maui plays with it and then it just goes missing because it gets lost in like the fucking corners of my room somewhere. So thank you for that, bub. You're very cute, but you gotta stop. You have like 600 toys. Why do you play with my hemp wick? Cats are so simple like that. Like, you can buy them a new toy every time you go to the store. They would still rather steal whatever hair tie and or hemp wick laying around and then play in the box from Amazon that you just ordered. Alright, so my camera card I think is almost out of memory. Of course, it wouldn't be a StrainCentral video if my camera didn't die at least once. But that is all for this episode this week, guys. I just wanted to sit down and have a little bit of a longer episode since I haven't uploaded in, I think, almost like 3 weeks now. It's been quite a while, so wanted to sit down, have a sesh with you guys, catch up, and make sure you had some longer content. Expect content over the next few days, and probably, I'm not going to lock myself into anything too consistent, but I at least want to get weekly content out, if not several times weekly. I'm just making sure that, like, mental health remains a focus, and I'm not, like, putting this above that, because that's the most important thing we have is our brains. Cheers, though, my friends. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. If you're having a rough one, put your best foot forward. Tomorrow comes another day, and if you keep putting your best foot forward every day, better things come. So, cheers, guys. Stay positive, stay medicated. Peace, friends.